Netherlands is to restrict exports of advanced semiconductor equipment, citing national security. The decision follows pressure from the United States on its allies to curb technology exports to China.
The Wimbledon Tennis Championships begin in London today. They'll run for a fortnight, with defending men's singles champion Novak Djokovic opening proceedings on centre court. He's seeking a record-equalling 8th men's title at Wimbledon.
Meta, the owner of Facebook, is launching a new app to rival Twitter, which it says will go live on Thursday. The app, which is called Threads, will be linked to Instagram. South Korea says that a North Korean spy satellite, which crashed into the sea shortly after takeoff in May, had no military utility. South Korean forces scoured the sea for more than a month to recover the satellite wreckage.
Canada has suspended advertising on Facebook and Instagram in a dispute over a new law that forces social media companies to pay news outlets for content. It comes after Meta started blocking news on its platforms in Canada.
Japan has protested to South Korea about military drills conducted by Seoul on disputed islands. It called them unacceptable and extremely regrettable. The two nations have long contested the sovereignty of the group of islets called Takeshima in Japan and Dokdo in South Korea.
North Korea's defense ministry has claimed that US spy planes recently entered the country's airspace near its east coast. Pyongyang said there was no guarantee that a US Air Force strategic reconnaissance plane would not be shot down in the area.
The tech giant Meta says its new social media platform Threads has signed up more than 100 million users in less than 5 days. It means the platform has beaten the previous record set by the ChatGPT app.
Milan Kundera, the Czech-born author who's best known for his novel The Unbearable Lightness of Being, has died. He was 94. He was once considered a potential Nobel laureate and was shortlisted for the prestigious Man Booker International Prize in 2005. Google has launched Bard, its AI chatbot, in the European Union. The rollout was delayed because of the bloc's strict policies aimed at guaranteeing users' privacy. The US tech giant says it's now included features that boost transparency.
Hong Kong's health secretary has suggested that the territory can build a non-smoking culture if everyone stares in disapproval at people who light up where they shouldn't. Hong Kong is currently debating how to create a tobacco-free city.
Carlos Alcaraz has become the youngest men's champion at the Wimbledon tennis tournament in nearly 4 decades. The 20-year-old Spaniard dashed Novak Djokovic's hope of a record-equalling 8th Wimbledon title. The Serbian player described his defeat as difficult to swallow.
Ukraine says it's prepared to carry on exporting grain, despite Russia declaring that it's withdrawn from a UN-brokered agreement. Kyiv said Ukrainian ships are ready to sail without Russian approval if the Turkish authorities let them leave the Black Sea.
A US soldier who was facing disciplinary action has crossed into North Korea from South Korea. The American military said he did so willfully and without authorization. He's now in custody in the north.
The Women's Football World Cup is underway in Auckland, with the co-hosts, New Zealand, facing Norway. The tournament began on schedule despite an earlier shooting in the city that left 3 people dead, including the attacker.
South Korea's military says North Korea has fired several cruise missiles into the Yellow Sea on the west of the Korean peninsula. It comes 3 days after Pyongyang fired 2 short-range ballistic missiles into the East Sea.
And the Serbian tennis star Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from next month's Canadian Open in Toronto due to fatigue. The announcement came a week after the 36-year-old lost a gruelling 5-set Wimbledon final to Spain's Carlos Alcaraz that lasted almost 5 hours.
In football, Colombia have beaten South Korea 2-0 in their first match at the Women's World Cup in New Zealand and Australia. Later, co-host New Zealand take on the Philippines as they look for their second win in the tournament.
China has removed Qin Gang as foreign minister less than a year after he was appointed. Mr. Qin hadn't been seen in public for a month. A statement mentioning an apparent health problem has been wiped from the record. He's been replaced by his predecessor in the role, Wang Yi.
The US Central Bank has raised interest rates to their highest level in more than 2 decades as it tries to further cut inflation. The Federal Reserve lifted its key rate by 1/4 percentage point.
The number of tigers in India has risen to almost 3,700, an annual increase of more than 6%. The country is home to 3/4 of the world's wild tigers.
시청해 주셔서 감사합니다. 다음 시간에 뵙겠습니다.